We're about to go racing with the ARCA Menards series with the Zinnser Smart Coat 200 at Berlin Raceway in Michigan. 200 grueling laps around this 4/10 of a mile oval. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for today's race. Round 4 of the Sioux Chief Showdown. On the front row for this one, a pair of teenagers. Daniel Dye, 17 years old. Ty Gibbs alongside of him in that Joe Gibbs racing car.
I'm excited to see what Taylor Gray can do in his second race back from injury. That 16-year-old starts up in the 4th position.
Jesse Love back there in row number 3. Nick Sanchez hoping to rebound. He's got 7 straight top 10s, but he didn't like last week's finish.
Sitting back there in row number 4, Thad Moffat's first time here, as well as Morgan Alexander. Raced for Nice Motorsports last Friday on the dirt at Knoxville. He makes his debut tonight in that number 50.
Gracie Trotter scored her best career ARCA finish 1 week ago with a podium run at Elko. And Mason Mingus is a former podium finisher here at Berlin Raceway back in 2013.
Love to see what we're going to see tonight out of 2 young, hungry drivers. We're on board, the General Tire on board with Taylor Gray in that number 17. He'll start outside row number 2. He told me before the race, I've got nothing to lose. I'm not running for points. Let me at it.
The other onboard camera will belong to the Solar Fit car, the number 21 of Daniel Dye, part of a Bounty Rookie Spotlight. Daniel Dye, great run for him. He was up into the top 5 consistently through last week's race, faded a little bit and finished in that 7th spot, but we're expecting big things out of that driver as he keeps on his progression within the stock car ranks.
Helps a ton to have Chad Bryant and the GMS team behind him to get that first General Tire pole of the season.
Here's what we're going to see tonight at Berlin Raceway with the Lucas Oil Race 411. 200 laps, that's just under 90 miles. Those race breaks are key. Laps 75 and 125, it will offer up these teams and drivers to discuss their cars and make some changes.
They'll have to keep those left side tires from getting too buzzed. What I mean is they can actually light the tires up off the corner. If they get too much heat in those tires, man, it's going to cause a whole lot of wear because they want to save those for the lap 125 break after changing 2 at lap 75 if all goes to plan.
What do you think we're going to see out of some of these drivers early on? Aggressive moves or pure patience?
We're going to see some rabbits getting out there, getting some pace. I think Ty Gibbs wants to say, you know what, I'm going to take this thing and lead it. Daniel Dye has something to prove. He's got a young driver that's got some experience, not a ton at this level. I think he'll want to stay on pace with Ty. That may make Daniel maybe lose his stuff, use his stuff before we get going here. I really believe the fast cars might be coming back to these teams by lap 75 when we go to that first race break.
Paul Chaddock will wave the green flag for the ARCA Menards Series event at Berlin Raceway. It's time to have a big old ARCA party in the Wolverine State tonight. Daniel Dye leads his first laps ever in the ARCA Menards series tonight here at Berlin. Battle is for 3rd here. Corey Heim on the 20 will relinquish it to the 17 of Taylor Gray.
And Corey Heim said, as we heard from Dave Reeves' interview, he said, I really have not figured this place out yet. It's more on me. And he told me before, he said, if I didn't have to spend 90% of our practice this afternoon figuring the track out, we could have maybe made more changes. So I think right now Corey's in that hold mode. I don't want to lose too many spots, but I'm not going to charge at this point. He really has a car that they made some more changes to, perhaps than he was expecting, because they just didn't know what they had just yet. He said it's going to be a while, but I don't expect the first portion of this race to be where I'm going to excel. I need to be ready for the end.
Yeah, Corey Heim's crew chief, Shannon Rush, spent some time with him here today, and he said it was definitely a big task at hand during practice today. Their limited practice for 45 minutes for Corey Heim to really figure out this racetrack, and there are several different things that these drivers told me today, Jim, that really threw them for a loop. That yellow line down here in turn number 4, how you have to go below it, but also you have to put an egg underneath that throttle pedal because you can't just go to the mat with that loud pedal here, and then coming up off of turn number 2, that wall disappears, and that's a little funky for a lot of these drivers.
First timers here said there's no reference point. I'm used to like looking for something on the wall or a billboard or a pylon. There's nothing to refer to there off of turn number 2. You just have to kind of get that feel. And honestly, Bob, as the race goes on, if these cars free up off of turn number 2, those right sides could be dangling on the edge of the asphalt where it meets the grass and it drops off quickly down the backstretch.
So Jesse Love in that number 15. There is Nick Sanchez in the 2. Right now they are running 5th and 6th on the racetrack. But earlier today, Jesse Love asked me, what are Jim Trado's keys to the race?
He did not ask you that. you paid him to say that. We got to find the rhythm here. We got to get in that. You mentioned that eggshell under the gas pedal. You got to be easy, and you got to get in that rhythm and flow and stay on pace. Keep that mindset. Find your rhythm. Also, on the exit of turn 2 and exit of turn number 4, if you can turn under somebody, it will make it difficult for them after a lap and a half or 2 to stay with you. So turn under exit is key to get that car to handle down low. And on those restarts, man, here it's so important. You might have 2 or 3 laps on the outside of someone, but if you can get fire off on the restarts, see how curved that race line is into turn number 1? You imagine coming too wide off with the gas pedal, hitting that restart line. It's after turn 4 here, so you really got to get a clean restart to get through and get position.
I'm impressed so far with Daniel Dye. 1 week ago, he had that good run, and I asked Chad Bryant what happened. And he said, we just didn't stay on track. We didn't stay consistent through the entire race. He felt maybe even Daniel might have charged a little bit too hard at one portion of the race. He said, we need to put together an entire race, 200 laps here tonight, and get that valuable experience.
Still leading this race, but I can see now Corey Heim as the sun continues to set here off the back straightaway underneath that Ripper Coffee Company number 17 of Taylor Gray. That's Corey Heim in the white number 20 Craftsman Toyota. I think he's finding his groove, Bob. I think he's actually kind of having something to gauge off of, not just this stopwatch saying, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? He feels good now. We're on that low line.
Let's go to Dave Reeve with the crew chief for Corey Heim, Shannon Rush.
Well, very well documented. Corey said he struggled to kind of get used to this thing. It's not just a struggle for the drivers, it's a struggle for the crew chiefs as well, as Shannon Rush writes down some notes. What are the challenges that you guys face with these young drivers in learning Berlin Raceway?
Yeah, it's tough. It's a different racetrack than what I've ever been to, so definitely a different set of circumstances for me to deal with and try and figure out. So Corey Heim's a good driver, though, so he should be pretty good.
As far as strategies with some race breaks, how do you approach this race?
At the beginning here, we just got to take care of our stuff and kind of see where the racetrack goes as the temperature goes down, the sun goes down. So get good feedback here from this first run, then adjust on it accordingly at lap 125.
And trying to take advantage of some slower traffic here. They're going around the 06 of Zachary Tinkle right now. But unfortunately, due to that, Corey Heim tried to go to the lower line. Tinkle was there, and that allowed the Venturini Motorsports teammate Jesse Love in the 15 to pass the 20 of Corey Heim.
Zachary's got some laps here, not in this series, though. He's making his debut for Wayne Peterson, that black number 06, feeling out these bigger, heavier cars. He's the 2019 CRA Late Model Sportsman Champ, so he's been here before. Jesse Love has only been here one other time, but for him, it's been June 9th of this year. He was here for the first time in the Money in the Bank 150, where he ran top 10. He just said, man, I got used to the place, but it's a lot different in these cars. I hope I had enough practice here to figure it out.
Let's take a look at how Jesse Love just kind of maneuvered his way by his teammate Corey Heim with an auto park it replay.
On the outside, we're looking for the white number 15 to enter the picture. The number 17 on the outside is Taylor Gray. And Corey just could not get up on the racetrack before his teammate got position and got around him, that number 15 Mobil 1 Toyota for that spot.
I saw Jesse Love kind of moping around the pit area after qualifying, and I went up and I said, what's the matter, dude? And he goes, the driver just forgot how to drive in qualifying. So he believes that he has a very good car. And I was watching his line actually here today for somebody that has only been here on one other occasion with that super late model race a couple of months ago. He's got turn 4 dialed in. You can see Corey Heim went a little bit too low there and kind of hit the loose stuff down in the corner. Well, Jesse Love, nice and smooth with his throttle. Corey Heim is able to catch him, but Jesse Love has got almost that veteran-like line.
And I think those 150 laps, Bob, are paying off already for Jesse. Notice how easily he came to the bottom of turn number 2 to hold position. He hasn't gone down into the dust in turn 4, but watching the line of that white car ahead, the Mobil 1 Toyota, look how he comes off at turn number 2 and diamonds the corner and comes down across. So if Corey thought he had a shot on the inside, it won't happen this lap because Jesse had all that good run off the corner.
Now, the only problem with the line that Jesse Love is running late in the race, maybe with a couple laps to go, that might open the door for a little bump and run.
It really, when the cars go into turn number 3, they're really light. Those cars are just floating in there before they get on the gas pedal. Right here at this point in the race, the car is really light, so if there is contact, that would be quickly done in turn 3. Yeah, we've seen some bump and runs lately in this series, haven't we?
We have indeed. and they may be a nomination for the Reese's Sweet Move of the race. One of the most unique things we've seen the ARCA Menards series do here over the last decade or so as Corey Heim goes to the inside of Jesse Love. The fans are able to participate in actually deciding who gets the Reese's Sweet Move of the race. Go to the ARCA Racing Twitter tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and we'll nominate several things from tonight's race for them to vote on.
Corey Heim made a nice move there. Pretty sweet run on the inside of his teammate in turn 3, pressured him, got the inside line, made the pass for 4th. Give the spot to Corey Heim.
25 laps in, and it's all Daniel Dye so far. Ty Gibbs, by the way, about a second behind this number 21 as he leads in his first attempt in ARCA at Berlin. First caution of the day here at Berlin Raceway for the ARCA Menards series, and it came because of a spin. And unfortunately for Alexander in the 50, he winds up in trouble early in this one.
We were looking at the leader at the time of the spin, Bob, and you'll find out right now, fans, in this Autopocket replay, why it was such a close call. He's the first car in line here on this shot. That number 50 of Alexander cooked it into turn number 3, and that number 21, that's our race leader, Daniel Dye, making the big move.
That is a nomination for the Reese's Sweet Move of the race. Unfortunately, not for Morgan Alexander, but for the 21 of Daniel Dye. Watch him. He's that black, orange, and white car there. Has to get on the binders and just maneuver his way around Morgan Alexander, who has been running some of the Crate Dirt Late Model ranks. A winner at Sonoy, Georgia last year, and he's picked up some wins in Georgia this year as well.
Got a chance to race in the ARCA Menards series with the Nice Motorsports Group. His crew chief's Matt Weber, who built this car, this very car, won here at Berlin Raceway back in 2014 for Mason Mitchell. Pretty good to see that that Matt's back with the car. He's pretty excited. And Morgan really getting acclimated here on a really tricky racetrack.
And you know who else is with that 50 machine? A kid that we saw run the ARCA Menards series just a couple of years ago, Carson Hocevar, who had some really good runs. And he is a race dominator. Right in the middle of the screen with the blue hat on, reaching for his headset right now, is Carson Hocevar, just below that Menards flag. And he is trying to coach Morgan Alexander through this race. Had an unfortunate circumstance, but that's a learning lesson for Morgan Alexander.
And this is the track Carson Hocevar went out and won an outlaw late model race at the age of 12, and the track was told, hey, if you want to keep the sanction, you got to park that kid. He's too young. He can't win races at 12 and 13 around here.
Thad Moffitt with the Clean Harbors number 46 on pit road. We mentioned his car chief, Frank Kimmel, has won 3 times here at this racetrack. And Thad told me it was difficult for him to get used to how much you turn here at this racetrack. So he went to Frank and asked him. And Frank told me earlier today, Thad, and this is what a lot of young racers do, they just get on the gas a little bit too soon. You got to wait, you got to roll. And when Thad would let it roll, that car was more to his liking. But early on in this race, he comes in for a chassis change.
And it's a big adjustment, even for Daniel Dye, a super late model driver, a pro late model driver, to make the adjustment here, because you can't just use one pedal or the other. You're not stabbing on the gas or the brake here. You've got to really let that thing roll. And when you get back on it, the car's got to be square. It's got to be straight, got to be true, or you're just grinding off the tires and creating heat on that rubber on the general tires. They don't like that. They're going to actually start not working for you the way you want them to. This little slowdown, Bob, I think gives Ty Gibbs a chance to talk to his team about maybe what he wants to do here on first opportunity on pit stops. He was not as fast as Daniel Dye each and every lap, and we know how much Ty loves to lead laps. Yes, you get a point for leading a lap here. Ty has yet to do that, but I think Ty's pace is where he wants it, but I don't know if he likes the speed that Daniel Dye has been shown this far, because Daniel is pretty quick lap after lap, faster than Ty Gibbs at this point in the race.
Nick Sanchez in this Rev Racing number 2 machine. He too was a little bit baffled by this racetrack in practice earlier. And although he's been on quite the consistent streak as of lately, 7 top 10 finishes in a row, he said, I'm not satisfied. I want to consistently be in the top 5, but he's taken on a different role for this team this year and is definitely one of the leaders of this team in the Rev Racing team. Here's Thad Moffitt with David Gilliland Racing. Let's get an update on him from Dave Reef.
Derek Smith said the 46 car was a little free on entry, so they went ahead and took advantage of this yellow to come in and make a couple of adjustments. They figure it's worth a couple of positions long run.
Early pit stop, and he'll have the opportunity to come in with that race break, the first one around lap 75, coming to the green this time by Daniel Dye with the Dominator Ty Gibbs alongside.
Ty Gibbs-esque launch by Daniel Dye there to get that lead. Nice run.
On board with the General Tire camera as Taylor Gray works to the inside of Ty Gibbs. Look at how Ty Gibbs just kind of squeezes him down on the bottom of the racetrack.
Still trying to learn what that bottom groove really is, because that car was 3 feet below the yellow line coming off of turn number 4 that time.
Great perspective of how tight the racing is for the ARCA Menards series at Berlin Raceway from that camera shot. Ty Gibbs, a big surprise though. I think you alluded to it, Jim, especially at Elko. Ty Gibbs dominated the restarts, just crushed everybody on the restarts. But here it's Daniel Dye getting the job done early in this race.
It's about that patience, about the setting the pace. And Ty, I think, is perhaps being told by his crew chief, Mark McFarland, has done a whole lot of work here, whether it be with the MDM, and they ran really well here in 2018, the last time the ARCA Menards Series raced here. But getting that right speed and getting that right feel is what Ty is working on. If Daniel Dye is faster and faster on restarts, that's the first time that I think Ty Gibbs has been beat clear on a restart at this point in the race, at any race this year or last year when Ty's on the front row.
Third place is this 17 machine for Taylor Gray. He ran Phoenix earlier this year and then had an automobile incident. A broken or fractured ankle, fractured foot, fractured vertebrae, trouble with his spine, surgeries. He's got metal rods and pins and so forth. He returned to racing 1 week ago at Elko, had a good top 5 run, and I asked his crew chief, Chad Johnson, afterwards, I said, how was he? And he said, well, he was a little bit more sore than he thought he would be, a little bit more fatigued, but they made some changes to that insert in that seat to hopefully help Taylor Gray throughout this grueling race.
He also is one of the couple of drivers who say 18-year is going to run all day. No, they got pretty hot in the car last week at Elko Speedway. That little bull ring did not have a lot of air coming into the car, so perhaps another adjustment that team made as well to get him some fresh air on these hot Saturday nights.
Corey Heim in the 20 is fourth. Fifth place running is that 15 machine for Jesse Love, who actually ran a super late model race in Anderson, Indiana, the Redbud 400 on Monday night, and was running second when he had a right rear tire go down late in the race.
I really like the fact that this young driver, Jesse Love, he races out of California. He won the NASCAR West Series, now the ARCA Menards Series West last year at age 15, won the title, going away. Now he comes to this series, and what he's also been able to do is transition from dirt midgets into what else he does besides full-time in the ARCA Menards Series when he gets a chance. He races super late models, including that race on Monday at Anderson Speedway, a tight quarter mile. He also raced the Slayer Nationals. He also got a chance to race in several other races around the country outside of the ARCA Series. So getting him some seat time on pavement stock cars, I think it's paying off dividends. He finished second at Elko last week.
Nick Sanchez is sixth at 25. Calico Machine is Gracie Trotter, who had a good run last week at Elko, that third place run. So she progresses nicely as she develops here in the ARCA Wars.
She's still trying to figure this track out though, Bob. I said, what do you think of it now after practice? So I asked her last week, how are you preparing? She said, watching video, there's not a lot out there. That's the first go-to for these drivers to get some kind of in-car camera time. They want to see what the car is doing, maybe pick up some throttle points. But she said, this track is so different than anywhere else I've raced. I said, any comparison to anywhere? She said, no, it's just so different. The backstretch wall is not there. I'm always turning on the car. In turn 4, getting down on the apron, I'm still turning the car while I'm on the gas pedal. So it's a whole different experience. And I really believe she loved Elko because it reminded her of where she won her ARCA Menards Series West race at Las Vegas Bullring. But this young driver, she's only got 10 races to prove herself, and today was a challenge to get to this point, saying, you know what, I might have something, but I really don't know what to do around this racetrack or ask for what I need when it is time for that break, because I'm still trying to figure this place out.
Trotter running in 7th, Thad Moffitt up to 8th, 9th Mason Mingus. So that's right now what we're seeing here on this racetrack. We got a lot to go here at Berlin Raceway. We're inching closer to the first race break in this one. Daniel Dye leads. 60 laps into the Zinnser Smart Coat 200 at Berlin Raceway for the ARCA Menards Series, the 4th round of the Sioux Chief Showdown. That's a great view from the Lucas Oil Chopper, showing this circular racetrack that Daniel Dye has dominated so far. He has led every lap of this race so far, and he is the focus of the Bounty Rookie Spotlight here. 17 years old from Florida. He's right now battling for an E-Series championship as well. 5th overall in the ARCA E-Series championship.
Ran some Super 8 models last year, some high-profile events at Bristol. Finished top 5 there. Finished 14th at the Snowball Derby. But getting this chance, first with Ben Kennedy Racing to run some ARCA Menards Series East last year, making that quick move over to GMS. This young driver's on a path. He wants to be with the best people. He finds the Chevrolet Driver's Edge development part of what he wants to be part of. He's got that opportunity now at GMS Racing as he takes over the spot, really, that Jack Wood vacated to do some more NASCAR truck racing.
Hey, Dave Reef, what are they thinking about this 21 and Daniel Dye?
Well, he is the ninth guy to drive for GMS Racing, and being on such a short track, it's a great vantage point to pick him up here off of turn number 2. Watch him scream through turns 3 and 4, and that's where we find Chad Bryant, the man who gave him this opportunity. What did you see in this young kid that he is showcasing tonight?
Oh, I mean, Daniel's doing a great job tonight, but to answer your question, what did we see in Daniel? Is anytime a kid can go to a showcase race for the super late models like the Rattler and run in the top 3, compete with Steven Nassie, Bubba Pollard, Tom Majeski, all those people, they're really good. They got talent. Glad we got him. This is race number 3, and I feel like we're finally getting a little chemistry between the group of us. It's fun to watch us get back up front with the 21 car like they're so used to being.
You're in contact with this team. How good is this team running right now? Do you have anything you really want to change coming up here in this first break?
You know, he hasn't really said much about the car, which is a good thing. So really don't know where we are balance-wise, but right now we're obviously pretty decent. 18 can mirror our lap times. He's definitely got something for us, so we need to make it a little bit better.
After the first 67 laps, untouchable for Chad Bryant.
And Chad's got a great notebook here at Berlin Raceway. The last time we raced here was 2018. Chad Bryant owned a team that went to victory lane with Joe Graff Jr., his only win in the series. So to know what he has and what he can tell his driver about is a big-time advantage for Daniel Dye here at this racetrack.
And prior to that, Dalton Sargent went to victory lane as well, and Chad had been part of that organization as well. Daniel Dye, though, he's just crushing the competition. That bounty on board, it makes it look like a nice Saturday night drive for him thus far.
You notice where Chad was, way over there in turn 3. He's on the radio as much as the spotter. Sometimes crew chiefs don't want to see it, don't want to hear a whole lot, don't want to say a whole lot. But Chad's out there telling his driver, and I've seen him walk the infield at a lot bigger tracks. He'll go out in the turn 3 at Pocono and stand there and watch his driver and give him some insights.
The first race break, we're just about 5 laps from it. What can we expect from some of these teams on how these race breaks are designed and what they're allowed to do, Jim?
Well, 1 week ago at Elko Speedway, a smaller track than this one, same situation. You had 6 tires in the pits. All the teams came to the first race break and changed 2 right side tires, meaning the left side tires had to stay in that car for over 100 laps. Oh, contact there between teammates. Oh, excuse me. That's the number 2 of Nick Sanchez going under Jesse Love.
Sanchez.
Red Racing team now being heard from.
He wanted to get by Jesse Love before this first race break. They have 6 tires in the pit area. To allude to what you're saying, do you take 2 now and 4 later, or vice versa? Jesse Love starting to fall back a little bit, and Sanchez very aggressive in that 2 machine.
This is a 200-lap race. Sanchez wants to give it all he has here because the last segment of the race is about 75 laps, Bob. So if you're looking at how you want to manage this race, what do you have now, Nick? Do you have something for him? Did he save something for him? And Sanchez is getting that move done to get the position here by about 75 laps. That's about the duration of the end of the race from the last time they get to come to pit road to change tires.
These 2 drivers, Sanchez now in the top 5, 12 seconds behind leader Daniel Dye, who is setting a torrid pace as we get closer, just about a lap away from that first race break.
Great shot from Lucas L. Chopper off that turn number 4 run. The line hasn't changed much, just the grip level and the seconds on the clock have slowed this team's down about 1.2 seconds on race pace.
So there's that first race break. All the drivers out there just breathing a sigh of relief, saying we need to make some changes to our car because that Daniel Dye number 21 is just dominant so far here today at Berlin. Daniel Dye from pro late models to super late models, and now warring with some of the best drivers in America in the ARCA Menards series. We'll be right back to recap what happens on pit road from Berlin. It's been a heck of a year for the driver they call Flash. He's quick. Ty Gibbs, 5 wins already in 2021 in the ARCA Menards series. A little pounding on his chest because he has been so good. He's led more laps than any other driver. In fact, 5 times over more than any other driver so far this year. But after last week, he's looking to get back to victory lane in a bad way. It's the first race break in the Zinnser Smart Coat 200 for the ARCA Menards series at Berlin Raceway. What's going on pit road, Dave?
Well, for the 18 and the 20, the two primary players in the points race for Ty Gibbs, just complaining a little bit about a car that's not carrying speed throughout the entire corner. Certainly would like to fire off it a little bit better. This is a team that is dialed into the right rear side of that car, making some shock adjustments. Meanwhile, for the 20 car, they have problems firing off of the corners as well, and they went through a right front, burned that right front off a little bit, so the crew has the hood up. They're actually making some top side adjustments to this race car, but Corey Heim and Shannon Rush say their car is not nearly as good as it's going to be after they make these changes. So watch for Corey Heim to get back into this race and start climbing up the leaderboard a little higher than fourth when we go green.
Some work going on the 15 for Jesse Love. He comes on pit road 6th overall. Nick Sanchez in the 2 just moved by him. So lap traffic has been very interesting here for all of these drivers with some of the slower cars. We hear there's a little damage to the right side of Nick Sanchez's car as well. We'll fill you in when we return here to Berlin. Berlin Raceway has a special place in the history of short track racing in America. Some of the greatest short trackers have come from this area, including one of my favorites, Freddie Campbell.
And the Bluebird.
The Bluebird, Bob Seneker. And man, this place used to go crazy when Mike Eddy would visit, especially when he wound up in Victory Lane.
He sold tickets. They didn't like him. They did not like Mike Eddy here. Wrong side of Michigan for Mike, but he won a lot.
Will they like Daniel Dye if he's able to pull into Victory Lane tonight? He's our Bounty Rookie Spotlight, and he's got a great run going, having led every single lap so far. Let's try to talk to him.
Daniel, Jim Trado in the MAV TV booth. Your car looked pretty good for the first 77 laps. What did you do to adjust for what could be a 200-lap run to the checkers?
Didn't do anything, man. Got a good piece. Chad Bryant's put together a good race car. Going green here, hopefully keep it.
What did you ask for in changes as the tires wore on this car?
Not a thing.
Wish you well. Daniel Dye short on words because you know what? He's looking in the mirror and looking out the window, looking for those lights go off on the pace cars. We're about ready to get back racing here. As the race leader, Daniel Dye, and didn't want a whole lot of changes. But I'm telling you, that team is still going to work on it if they need to. He's got a lot of fast pace right now.
Hey, Dave, what went on with the 2 of Nick Sanchez?
Well, 7 straight top 10 runs for that number 2 car. They brought a new piece here. Nick Sanchez very excited about it, but got pinched on the front stretch by a lap car that forced him to go up, get a little right side damage. No big deal. They say he's free on entry, but he is good to go. Did a good job saving that car as it's time to go green.
It's a short track. You're going to have battle scars for sure. Getting ready for the restart after this first race break. Ty Gibbs, Daniel Dye leading the field to the green flag. Nice slow pace. This time, Ty Gibbs, Jim, has a great run. Can Daniel Dye fight him off? They head down the backstretch, and this is an unbelievable view. Some contact between Dye and the 21 and the 18 of Ty Gibbs.
Where do you want to watch? I heard the car bottoming out as well, man. He's got his hands full back there in third.
Gibbs wants to get the lead. He wants those points for leading a lap. He wants the points for leading the most laps out here. But Daniel Dye's been just too good so far. He leads, but oh no, maybe a little contact down there in the corner with Ty Gibbs. We saw Ty Gibbs go to the bottom side of that 21. Wow, anxious moments for that youngster out of Florida in the 21.
Daniel Dye took the lead and kept it to this point in the race, but Ty Gibbs did the crossover. We heard a little bit of a woo-woo on the gas pedal.
Here's what happened. Ty Gibbs, we saw him go to the bottom. He dives down in there, slides high, can't keep it turned into the left rear quarter, and a great move by Daniel Dye, a nomination for the Reese's Sweet Move of the race.
I'd say Ty Gibbs is equally worthy of a nomination because what he did is he got in the corner hot. Daniel came across his nose a bit. Ty let him recover. Ty could have driven right through that car or right past the car, but he let him gather it up. Good move on Ty Gibbs' part as well.
Patience being exuded by the teenagers here at Berlin Raceway, which is one of the most difficult tracks on the circuit.
Knowing the restarts are that critical, knowing how strong Daniel Dye had been on the only caution in the first portion of this race, he beat Ty Gibbs fair and square. So Ty Gibbs trying to get that maneuvering into turn 3 just didn't work that time as Daniel Dye had a lot of speed into turn 3, and you can see the racing line's not on the bottom of that line. That line is a square on the apron. So as they went through that corner, Ty Gibbs did what he did, and Daniel Dye also tried to race him hard and was able to recover.
Behind Daniel Dye is that 18 of Ty Gibbs, and then behind that it's Corey Heim. So the top two in points getting closer and closer to each other. Mark McFarland is the crew chief on this 18, and I'm sure he made some changes to that car for Ty Gibbs in that race break. What can you tell us, Dave?
I can definitely tell you that the last words of encouragement to the 18 before that green flag came out, it says this is about a 45-lap run. Now it's time to turn the wick up a little bit and get after it. Gibbs obviously has a little bit more inside of that race car there, and maybe pressed it just a little bit too far, but did a good job, as did Daniel Dye, in maintaining that. But yes, this is the middle portion of this race. This is when the teams are going to want to find out exactly what they're going to have for the final 75 laps. It's get after it time, basically, for everybody here on the lead lap.
And let's go back to 1 week ago, because we've spent some time talking about Corey Heim. But that 18 of Ty Gibbs, he got roughed up on that final restart. He got pushed out of the lead. He had dominated that race, and he fell back to fourth. Well, afterwards, he was interviewed by Dave Reeve, and he kept his composure, calm, cool, and collected. So I think that's something different as we see Ty Gibbs mature, something different than we would have seen about 2 years ago.
He would have been really mad. He probably would have been as mad as he was last year at Phoenix when he had the lead and they made a pit stop that was kind of out of sequence and lost them the lead and the victory. What I see out of Corey Heim as well is equally composed. He's a little more on the brash edge of where Ty Gibbs is in terms of getting that PR training per se. But I like how Corey is not about to say nothing happened. He knows it's going to happen. He said, I raced the way I want to be raced. And he thought Ty Gibbs roughed him up. They raced against each other side by side for 15, 20 laps last weekend at Elko Speedway, albeit Ty Gibbs leading over 200 of the 250 laps. But as they raced hard together, that became an issue for Corey Heim. He couldn't let go. And when it came down to the last portion of the race, the last restart, Corey moved from fifth to third to get in position behind Ty Gibbs on the final restart of the race and moved him up the hill and won it.
Right now, I think Corey Heim has to be happy with how his practice was to compare to where he's running right now, because he just wasn't thrilled. That entire team was kind of shaking their head a little bit, even though they had a very good qualifying run.
And Corey even told me after qualifying, he said, I had a car at Toledo that I had to work on during the race. It wasn't that great. Elko Speedway, same thing. He was not totally comfortable in the car until the last portion of that race, because he had dropped back to fifth at one point, got into that third position, as I mentioned, to get in position for that last restart. But he said, I'm kind of in between where I was worse at Toledo than I was at Elko, but I'm kind of in between there, heading into the green flag tonight at Berlin. He said, I still got to figure this out. But he said, I know Shannon Rush has a notebook, and if I'm not beyond 7, tight or loose, he has a chart at what lap we're in this run, what we need to do on the car. He can actually just worry about how the car feels and relate to that rather than wonder and compute what he has to do on the car to make it better or carry the car beyond its limits.
Corey Heim leads the Geico Championship standings for the ARCA Menards series, but not by much. Just 7 markers over Ty Gibbs coming into this race. Thad Moffitt currently back there in third, Nick Sanchez in fourth, and both of those drivers saying they need to turn things around, the drivers in third and fourth in the standings, to have a shot at this championship. That is Shannon Rush. He has been in the big leagues of NASCAR. He's been here in ARCA. He's been with Joe Gibbs Racing, by the way, with that 18 team a few years ago as a crew chief, and now he's battling that 18 car as a member of Venturini Motorsports for the championship.
And he's been in the championship hunt with Michael Self as a driver last year. He went right down to the wire. He won a championship with Justin Haley in the ARCA Menards Series East just a few years ago. So in terms of battling it out at this level, Shannon's got a lot of experience, and he loves data. Can't get enough of it. He said, we have a program now at Venturini Motorsports where they can actually run models and simulations on the cars without the driver and the steering wheel. They can actually click a button and set different settings on the car. They measure every part. They weigh it, they scale it, they scan it. Pretty incredible, the detail that he has available to him to use to set these cars and make these changes.
It's a science for sure for all these crew chiefs and engineers, but at the same time, there's a little old school feel to racing, sometimes some superstition as well. You mentioned Michael Self. This is the car that Corey Heim is running tonight, that Michael Self dominated that race at Pensacola a few years ago at Five Flags Speedway. And it's one of the best cars in the Venturini Motorsports stables. In fact, it's the same car that Corey Heim won with last week at Elko.
I do believe Corey's got something if he loves the car, he's going to run faster. He didn't like their super speedway car, the intermediate track car. They got rid of that one. They got him a different one at Pocono. He won the race.
Laps ticking away. We're just under 25 until the next race break here at Berlin Raceway. Everyone calm, cool, and collected so far in this one. halfway through the ARCA Menards Series event at Berlin Raceway. Here's the Richmond Water Heaters mid-race recap. On the front row, Daniel Dye and Ty Gibbs, and it's been those two the entire distance so far.
Daniel Dye had some close calls, though, and we had some great racing for position. This is early on for spot number 3. And number 15 of Jesse Love pinned his teammate, the number 20 of Corey Heim behind for that spot.
There's a battle between those teammates. Corey Heim getting back by Jesse Love. Good move there by the point leader, and then here's the close call.
Oh, man. That's Daniel Dye approaching the spinning number 50 of Alexander. One more look here. This is out the front windshield of the race leader. Whew. Daniel Dye, nice move. A sweet move.
And then he had to have another sweet move nomination. Look at that. Not sorry right there is Ty Gibbs. He gets into him on the side, but both of those drivers save it. We take a look at some of the stats from the Richmond Water Heaters mid-race recap. So far, 3 cautions in this one. And right now, Daniel Dye has been the guy that has led the laps and has kept control of this race. Right now, let's go downstairs to Dave Reef.
Will Daniel Dye be the guy that breaks up the Ty Gibbs, Corey Heim freight train? That's a big question. But I know one guy that was extremely happy about the outcome of Elko just 7 nights ago, the way it all played out, because it was a Venturini sweep. All 3 drivers on the podium. And, of course, is Big Bill. It's the second time you've been able to enjoy 3 drivers on the podium. How special was last Saturday night in Elko?
Oh, definitely. You know, we've only done it one other time. That was at Iowa, where we had a 1-2-3 finish. So, yeah, it means a lot to us, you know. But my guys work at it. I got to tell you, they put in a lot of hours and a lot of hard work. So it's not me. It's mostly my guys and my son that puts this program together.
Let's be honest, though. As those laps were winding down and the way that race was going on, did you even see that coming the way it played out?
Oh, heck no. You know, no way. You know, well, I knew when the yellow came out with 5 laps to go that somebody was gonna win, and I didn't think it was gonna be Ty. I mean, it just. You know, my guys were really hungry, and Ty's been kicking our butt this year, so they felt like, you know, and they were kind of ganged up on him anyhow.
And you can't count out Corey Heim yet. Yes, Daniel Dye has led the most laps so far tonight, but Ty Gibbs did it last week, and we all know how that turned out. Pretty dramatic for sure. Thank you, sir.
I love Bill Venturini. He is so important to the ARCA Menards series. Overcame cancer last year. Still had some surgeries last year, and then has some procedures coming up. He might miss a race or 2, but Bill is the epitome of what the ARCA Menards series is all about. The guy out of Chicago builds his own team, has the all-female pit crew at one point.
Won the championship with him, yeah.
Absolutely. And then builds basically what is an empire with his wife, Kathy. That team is important to the future of this sport.
And when he mentioned his guys, Billy Venturini, his son, got out of the driver's seat because that team needed funding in 2005, 2006. He became more of a mentor to young drivers, and a lot of drivers have come through Venturini Motorsports and gone on to race on Sundays in NASCAR. A lot of drivers have done a full season or 2, like we saw Michael Self racing for a championship. Christian Eckes won a championship here and got his chance in the NASCAR Truck Series in recent years. So Shannon Rush, Kevin Reed, Billy Venturini, they are at the shop. Lights are always on because they're never home. They're always at the shop during the week. So that whole build, that mold of getting it done, the dedication move happened in 1991, I want to say, when Bill moved from Chicago down to Charlotte and began what he thought would be a NASCAR career, but it turned into a successful ARCA Menards Series team ownership.
And now there are several different teams vying for prominence here in the ARCA Menards series. You mentioned Venturini Motorsports. You have Joe Gibbs Racing and GMS Racing as well, who has really shown a thing or two over the past several years. Sheldon Creed capturing that championship for that team a few years ago. They too have a shot here in the coming years at going after another title.
Building what they can and surrounding these young drivers, the Toyota Racing Development Program, all those Toyota drivers, these drivers have access to them. Chevrolet's side, Kyle Larson is going to be in the same workout room as Daniel Dye on a given occasion, working their physical aspects of it and getting their workouts in and sitting down and analyzing tape together with Cup guys. Come on, that's all available, but that's made possible with these team relationships on this level on up through the NASCAR Cup Series with Chevrolet and Toyota taking the charge, and Ford Performance also putting together a nice program.
Second race break, that yellow flag coming out now. Ty Gibbs in that 18 was about 1.6 seconds behind Daniel Dye. So I don't know if Ty Gibbs is just playing the patient game, saving his stuff. He found out last week that it really didn't work for him when he dominated the race, so he might be just saving things right now for a late race strike in this one.
That was a quick 45-lap run. I mean, if you're thinking about making changes, you're running top 5 right now, this is the time to do it. We expect 4 General tires going on these cars during the second race break.
One more chance for these teams, these drivers, to make some changes to these cars and get a little bit better for the final run. Marne, Michigan is about 12 miles north of Grand Rapids, the second biggest city in the state of Michigan. Population here, about 3,000. Well, the crowd here tonight, I think all of them have come to the racetrack. We are under the second race break of this one. Daniel Dye has led the entire distance so far in that Solar Fit 21.
Trying to get an advantage point. Here we see Chad Bryant. We talked to him. He's now on top of the landing there above the car, overlooking his crew, making the changes for Daniel, taking the windshield tear off on. They've got time here. This is not a timed pit stop. You won't lose spots on pit road. You can change tires. You can add fuel, not at the same time. It's really a nice way for these teams to get adjustments without the pressures, especially on this unique pit road. As Dave showed us, coming off of turn 1 and 2, you slice down the middle of the infield the wrong way, heading back to 3 and 4, and you make a hard left to get on the front stretch. So in the races I've been a part of, and you too, Bob, watching these guys, it got to be pretty scary down there, running from both sides of pit road for a big launch into what would be the end of pit road to get position.
Here's what I like about this part of the year. In July, all live on MAV TV for the ARCA Menards series, 4 distinctively different racetracks. We went from Elko, the tiniest track on the circuit, to this one, probably the most unique. And next weekend, we go to Iowa Speedway in Newton, the land of the corn, with the Shore Lunch 150. That's July 24th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. The world's fastest short track is what they call it. And by the way, the end of the month, we go to the world's fastest half mile, the highest bank half mile in America, Winchester Speedway, on July 31st.
So what's going on next Saturday right here on MAV TV? We're going to have the ARCA Menards Series East teams joining the ARCA Menards Series. We're expecting 24, 26 cars to race on that very fast 7/8 mile. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be great with the ARCA Menards East teams and the teams from the national circuit duking it out. It's going to be a lot of fun at Iowa, but we got plenty to go here tonight. Beautiful sunset here near Grand Rapids, Michigan, near the shores of Lake Michigan. The Zinnser Smart Coat 200 for the ARCA Menards Series at Berlin Raceway. The race break number 2 is done. Taylor Gray is in the top 5. Jim Trado is going to try to chat with him.
Taylor, Jim Trado in the MAV TV booth really quick here. What'd you guys do on that stop to get in contention to win this one?
Oh, we just loosened up a little bit with this 4-tire stop. See where it puts us here. Just got to be patiently aggressive.
We wish you well. I know it's 1 to go. I'll let you get back to business. Taylor Gray, I think, has a lot more than what he's telling us here in this race car.
So Dave Reeve, another guy that we'll keep an eye on is Ty Gibbs. We're not used to him not leading any laps until this point of the race. What are they saying?
Well, for the first time, there's a fly in the ointment. That 21 car's flat out running the 18. They're happy with their car. Center speed's back. They're just spinning a little bit off the corner. They'll try to adjust that. But as far as Daniel Dye goes, Chad Bryant, very, very cautious, very, very confident. His driver hasn't said anything. He says, guys, don't touch this. Put 4 tires on. Let's go win this thing. That's pretty strong words from a 17-year-old in just his second ARCA Menards start this year.
But at the same time, the sun's starting to set. This track can be temperature sensitive and change things in a hurry.
And the teams that have never been here before, it's a guessing game. Chad Johnson's a great crew chief, but Taylor Gray and Chad, this today is their first visit to this Michigan Oval. We'll see how things change here as the temperatures continue to drop with the sun going down.
They will fire off of turn number 4. I don't think this will be the last restart of the race, but Daniel Dye leads them to the green again. Contact between the top 2 in this one. Ty Gibbs dove it into turns 1 and 2. Tried the outside groove, couldn't get the job done.
And you see him in turn 3, got a little bit too low as the car goes around.
Gracie Trotter in the Calico 25 goes around. I think she was down on the apron. Don't know if she got contact to that 25, but Gracie Trotter, 3rd place run last week, spins it out. here on lap 130.
Running about 7th on the restart. Gracie told me before the race, she said, when I have 4 new tires on, that's about the only time I can get on the gas pedal all the way to the floor on the front stretch and back stretch. I think she may have been anticipating a chance to get clean and get some spots there, but on the inside, it closed up in a hurry off of turn 4.
The Lucas Oil Chopper providing us this highlight, the Auto Park It replay, and there's a little contact between Thad Moffitt and the 46 and Gracie Trotter.
So she was fighting for a position under Nick Sanchez. That cleared, but then Thad Moffitt thought he had a spot on the inside there to make it 3 wide for a second, and that caught Gracie and sent her Toyota around there.
I don't think this is Gracie Trotter's favorite racetrack. I asked her today, does it remind you of anything back on the West Coast that you ran with the ARCA Menards West? And she said, absolutely not. This is a one-of-a-kind racetrack.
And she's run a lot of late model stock races all over the Southeast as well. So there's a lot to compare to in her brief racing career. But she's definitely, I asked her, I said, let me know after the race if you still think it's an okay joint or it's a place that you may never really like, because it's really been a divisive racetrack. Either you like it and you get used to it, or you don't like coming here whatsoever. That's my experience anyway over the years. Hopefully she can straighten things out and get back in contention here after that spin. But that's fresh rubber that went sideways that little bit, so it'll take her a while to get those temps back in those tires.
We've talked about just about everybody in the top 10 with the exception of one driver. And right now, that number 10 machine, Owen Smith, having a very good run here, hoping for a top 10 finish. He doesn't have one in ARCA competition after 14 starts.
Well, he's got Tom All's family of dealerships. He's got the Double H Ranch on there. He's got Shulcheski Financial Group as well helping him. This is an effort that he's put together. He's going to graduate from the University of Northwest Ohio on August 5th, and he said, my bags are already packed. I'm heading down to Andy's shop to work. So through the UNOH program, tied to ARCA, brought him there as an opportunity to drive the hauler, work with the team on weekends, and now this driver gets a chance out of Virginia to go racing the ARCA Menards Series, and I think he's got a real good shot at his first top 10 here tonight.
That motorsports program at UNOH is spectacular. Really provides people with some opportunities to learn the motorsports scene and possibly get themselves a job after they graduate. There is Thad Moffitt. We talked about that contact with Gracie Trotter, which brought out this caution. It looks like he's okay.
Clean Harbor's a sponsor on his car. He's trying to look for funding to go a full year. So we're talking about a lot of guys fighting for position, get that funding. We saw Thad now just duck to pit road here as we're about ready to go to green.
So maybe there is something wrong with the 46 car. That's a bad break for the driver that came into today's race third in the standings, Dave.
Well, the big concern is there on the right front, that contact that you were talking about. They're not sure if it's a tire rub. They're not sure if they have perhaps an engine issue, but the team quickly noticed that there was some smoke coming from that car. They've done a quick survey of the damage, and before, well, they're not going to make it back out here. But Moffitt is going to resume at the tail of this field.
Ty Gibbs really wants to go to that outside, but he doesn't want to relinquish that inside line, and he might have done it there to Taylor Gray in the 17.
Taylor Gray, I think, had a great run on Ty Gibbs. That might have surprised our driver that has won 5 times this year. Now Gray just settles back in here. Let's tie in on that spot in second.
This last part of the race matches the first part before the first race break. 75 laps. But Dave, Ty Gibbs just not yet able to keep pace with the 21.
And this is a car, according to Mark McFarland, that's having a problem holding the bottom side of this racetrack. So if he's going to think he's going to get underneath the 21 on the bottom, this is a car that maybe isn't set up just for that. So he's going to need a mighty big run to get around him on the outside, because that 18 is just simply not working down on the bottom.
Outside is the tough way around this racetrack, and I've seen late models do it, but this is a little heavier stock car, and that presents a little bit more of a challenge.
And it may take 4 or 5 or 6 laps in a late model to get positioned to pass someone. And we'll see 2-wide racing for longer periods here historically at Berlin Raceway. But this pace that Daniel Dye has had, Ty didn't have a chance to stay even with the guy who's led every lap thus far. He's going to have to do something dramatic here without the advantage of having a race break to make those adjustments here. The car handling just doesn't seem to be right tonight for the first time in 2021 for Ty Gibbs.
You've been coming to Berlin Raceway for a long time. So have I, from the ASA days, and watching late model races here and watching some of the great drivers come and go to victory lane or not here at this racetrack. But I love what they've done with this place. They have really advanced it to modern day. It used to be one of those good old short tracks, but the amenities for the fans here and through some of the management of this racetrack, and now Jeff Striegel taking over, They make this racetrack pretty darn nice if you're coming to spectate.
Mike Bursley's now back as the president. He spent 9 of the last 10 years overseeing what's going on here. A racer, getting the input from the drivers, getting input from the fans. Beautiful facility. I mean, every year you come back, you're like, wow, they paved the entire inside apron. They run quarter midgets on the front stretch apron. That's all now concrete. They have a sipping saloon right in the middle of the grandstand, so people can belly up to the bar and have a drink while they're watching their favorite drivers. And they build heroes here. They have a lot of great racing content. A lot of great traditional teams have stayed here as weekly racers that have really made this rabid fan base even more enjoyable to watch as they respond to national series like ARCA Menards series when they come to town.
Now some of these drivers will say, well, if they've done such a great job, let's add a wall to the backstretch. You know, Frank Kimmel is a driver who has won here 3 times, and you have some really big names in terms of the winners here at this racetrack. Grant Enfinger, who is a winner in the NASCAR Truck Series. Tim Steele, the late Tim Steele, went to victory lane here twice. Eric Jones, competitor for Richard Petty Motorsports in the NASCAR Cup Series. Chris Buescher as well. So there are some big names that have gotten to victory lane here, but Frank Kimmel, I'll tell you what, he knows a thing or two about, I think, every racetrack in America.
He said, I love this track, and he's pointed to the grandstands when I talked to him today. He said, this is a really cool place. These are smart fans that love their racing.
You know who likes hanging out with Frank Kimmel? Dave Reef. He's with him now.
Yep, you're absolutely right. This guy loves hanging out with that guy to talk about all things ARCA, because as a 10-time champion, you are Mr. ARCA. You were revealing to me just how much you love this place and the great memories you have here. Tell us some stories.
Well, it's just one hell of a racetrack, and the fans here are just second to none. And I remember coming here a long time ago, and we signed autographs till 1 o'clock in the morning or something. It was crazy, and ARCA cars have always put on such a good show here, but all the history and all the great drivers that's won here, it's a pretty special place just to get the opportunity to come race.
You ready to go see Larry Clement in your old championship 46 in Iowa next week?
Well, you know, Larry Clement was responsible for me, you know, getting where we were, and we had a lot of great years racing together, and he's always been a special friend, and it's great to see him get some recognition, because he was a big part of that Iowa Speedway for a long time.
Forward to that as well. You are a good man. Thank you.
That 46 car was something special in ARCA for the Kimmels.
Great notoriety as well. National sponsor, the National Pork Board. They also had Advanced Auto Parts on their car. They brought a lot of profile. Show car program. It was a really top-notch deal. I do want to say one more thing about the winners list we showed you. Eric Jones winning here at age 15. Huge deal. Family was here hanging out. He waited after the race till everybody got an autograph. And I was amazed, and really the Venturini team that he came here with was really on top of their game to win that race. But I think that really helped him get another awareness level. Not just, hey, I won the Snowball Derby racing as Kyle Busch, but winning an ARCA Menards Series race made him eligible, really, for others to think about him beyond just being a late model driver, which I thought was a really cool night on a special partial schedule for him with Venturini when he's only 15 years of age to win here. That was a big deal in his home state.
Just under 50 to go. We've seen this race so far be pretty steady, methodical, if you will. Do you think the complexion of the race changes in this final 50?
Car handling is critical. Those 4 general tires they got at lap 125 under the competition caution, Bob, I believe the teams that made the right call are going to go forward, and the teams that are struggling, unfortunately for the 46 of Thad Moffitt, it's his team that's the obvious one among the points contenders, not having the best of times here. It's going to happen quickly, and teams are going to fall off the pace, and unfortunately, you had to get it right, and that's been 25, 27 laps from ago already. We got teams in the top 10 that are 9, 10 seconds off the pace of this young driver out of Florida, Daniel Dye, in the number 21.
Thad Moffitt is now laps down, running in 10th. Actually, 1 lap down, right behind Owen Smith in that 10 machine. Let's ride on board with the Bounty camera and Daniel Dye and just see what it's like to race around this 0.4 of a mile oval here at Berlin. See how easy he is with that throttle. And you know, we've seen a history of first-time ARCA winners here at this racetrack. 10 total in the history, in the 30 races for the ARCA Menards Series coming into this race. And in fact, the last two winners here back in 2016 and 2018, first-time winners, Joe Graf and Dalton Sargent.
Daniel Dye, everything's clicking. We're looking at the stopwatch. He's not losing a lot of speed on that one beautiful lap we got of him in the car. He passed 2 lap cars and still put in the 4th fastest lap in the top 10 in terms of lap speeds that lap around. So this car is rolling free and fast with Chad Bryant making the right call on that pit stop.
He's got a 1.5 second advantage over Ty Gibbs. Gray then behind Gibbs. Gray is 4.3 seconds behind leader Daniel Dye.
Just watching him roll through the corner here, even through lap traffic, able to keep the car down on the racetrack. And by now, those lap cars are paying attention and obeying. They were not fighting through handling issues. They now know what they have at this point in the race with 40 laps to go. And Ty Gibbs, boy, we're going to keep an eye on the 1.4 second difference now to see if Ty now has said, okay, I know what I have in my race car. I got to push it. Now's the time to go.
But listen, we can talk about how good Daniel Dye has been and that everybody made those changes and hasn't showed anything. A yellow flag and a couple of restarts will erase everything because all bets will be off at that point.
Joe Graf Jr. won a race here in 2018. 2016, we went overtime after a lot of different things happened. The last 2 times here, I should say. 2016, Josh Williams racing for the win. He went up the backstretch. 2018, Joe Graf muscled his way into contention, popped a couple of cars out of the way. Green-white together finish. He ended up banging into Zane Smith and taking the lead away. I mean, there's a lot going on in the last 5 laps. We get a late caution. It's going to be exciting.
Ask and the Lucas Oil Production Studios will deliver. Let's take a look at that race from 2018, just a few years ago, and keep your eye on Joe Graf Jr. in the 77. Chandler Smith, so good in this race. He and Joe Graf went at it several times. Then late in the race, Zane Smith gets bumped by the 77 of Joe Graf, and watch this race to the line.
That was for the lead and for the win.
Joe Graf able to climb out victorious for the first and only time in his ARCA career.
And he had a line of people that wanted to talk to him. Not just about what he ate for lunch or how he's going to celebrate. They wanted a piece of Joe Graf that night.
Yeah, there was a little contact with Chandler Smith. That contact with Zane Smith. Oh, yes. Joe Graf Jr. laid it down that night to grab that victory. Will Daniel Dye do the same and become the 3rd driver to win his first ARCA race consecutively at Berlin? Menards has a great history in racing, especially here with the ARCA Menards series. They have been involved with ARCA for the last 13 years.
Great activation as well. Great partner. They've got sponsorship going throughout the series. Zinnser is only available at Menards stores. They're involved in this. They're buying in on how they can get exposure through racing at Menards, through the Menards partnership.
I'm a customer too. I go to Menards many times, sometimes a little bit too much according to my wife Angie, and I've used the Zinnser Smart Coat. I tell you what, it does a great job.
As far as wall primer goes, nothing compares. You put that stuff on. I had a really crazy wall in the house we bought a couple years ago. Put that on, 1 coat.
Absolutely. Covers everything for sure, and speaking of covering everything, Dave Reif does as well.
Well, we've got the NASCAR and NFL Hall of Famer, Coach Joe Gibbs here, watching his grandson see if he can pull a rabbit out of his hat, but in listening to the team's communications on racing electronics. Coach Gibbs' grandson's car is fast, just not as fast as the 21. About 10 laps ago, they said, give me as hard a 5 laps as you can just to know what we have, because, Bob Dillner, you hit it just right. They are hoping, they are praying, if you will, for a late race caution. They figure that may be the only shot they got, unless Daniel Dye makes a mistake.
Yeah, it could be a complete opposite role reversal of last week where he led the laps. He was in command of that last restart, but was in the worst spot because that bump came from Corey Heim and booted him out of the way and out of victory lane.
Yeah, great look there at the number 11. Mason Mingus back in the ARCA Menards Series. He's raced really well in the ARCA Menards Series East. A couple of top 10 finishes this year with this team with Jeff McClure. One of the 11 here today. The team construction Ford, first time back in the ARCA Menards Series since 2017. He finished second here, Bob, and he knows this racetrack. That's how good the 18 is rolling, the 21's rolling. I mean, Mason's no slouch, and he can get it done, but not today. He's got a car that now just won a lap down for the first time. He's now back in 7th.
Yeah, and Mingus is right behind the 18 there, and Mingus is a driver that, you know, he's changed his lifestyle. He's now married. He competed against Frank Kimmel a few years back and finished second in the standings to King Kimmel. But he is a driver that says, you know what, I want to have some fun. I don't want to compete full-time. And that's something that you can do with the ARCA Menards Series as well.
Running the family operations in Kentucky, and he did just that. He won the All-American 400 at Nashville. Not a surprise to some, surprised many by the speed he had late in that 400-lap race at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway just a few years ago in a partial run. He also had a chance to run here in the ARCA Menards Series last year, and he just said, I don't want to do that just yet. I've got some business to attend to. I can't put my full attention on it. So that team actually at Pensacola and Five Flag Speedway, they had a team all locked in with Mason as the driver, and Mason said, I can't make it. So they put another driver in the car instead.
Corey Heim is the epitome of somebody that has gone through the racing ladder. He started out in Bandoleros down there in the deep south. Then he went to Legends Cars, won there as well. Late model stock cars, pro late models, super late models. Robbie Johnston, who is a person that we know well that works with our company, I asked him at one point, I said, how is Corey, coming through the ranks? And he said he was always a very patient, aggressive driver. He was always one that was able to, just play the mind game and go on the attack when he needed to get that victory. And Corey Heim is showing that maturity once again. A couple years ago when he ran for Chad Bryant, he didn't have that killer instinct. Now he certainly does. He knows what he wants out of these race cars, especially with the help of Venturini Motorsports, and he's going after it. The point leader right now, and that would be, honestly, if he were able to capture the crown, capture this championship, to many, that would be a big upset.
And what he's able to do is able to work with a team, Chad Bryant Racing, and as well as the Venturini Motorsports team. In his limited time in the ARCA Menards Series, just last 3 seasons, this is his 26th race, Bob. His worst finish is 11th. He has completed every race he's raced in. The 11th place finish came at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway where the window net dropped and he had to come to pit road. Otherwise, it'd be top 10s. Considering the level of competition he's faced here while racing late models and super late models, Corey Heim's done an amazing job at this level. That's why Toyota has said, let's keep an eye on this guy. Let's give him a truck start at Darlington. His next will be in the Kyle Busch Motorsports truck in October at Martinsville Speedway.
Taylor Gray, a very impressive story as well. He rides right behind Heim in that 4th spot in that Ripper Coffee Company number 17 for David Gilliland Racing. And we mentioned that automobile accident earlier this year. Just broke his body, the surgeries, the rods, the screws. Said he can't go through metal detectors anymore, but he's come back at Elko, scored a top 5 finish last week, running in the top 5 again. But behind him right now, Jesse Love in that 15 is starting to catch Taylor Gray, and Jesse Love having another good run after finishing 2nd 1 week ago at Elko.
And Jesse's found some speed here. He was actually 4 or 5 car lengths back, but through this traffic run, he's closing the gap on this Mobil 1 Toyota to the backside of Taylor Gray in that black number 17. Battling for 4th here, the number 25 Gracie Trotter now just going down a lap for the first time.
And just to give you some perspective right now, there are only 2 drivers in the 17-second bracket, and that's Daniel Dye and Ty Gibbs. And by the way, the last lap, Ty Gibbs was 0.2 of a second faster than Daniel Dye, even though the margin between those two is 2 seconds. But everybody beyond that is 18 seconds or more. So those top 2 drivers, they're head and shoulders above everybody else, but yet Taylor Gray and Jesse Love, 4th and 5th on the racetrack, just fighting for all it's worth late in the stages of this one.
Much like the last 2 years on the short tracks in the ARCA Menards Series, Ty Gibbs and Joe Gibbs Racing facing off with GMS Racing and the number 21 team that was driven by Sam Mayer. They're now the 2 storylines again after the end of this one tonight. Berlin Raceway providing that GMS Racing with Chad Bryant, and a whole new cast of drivers, crew members have come to fore and have gotten that heavyweight fight, and they're in the rain, they're doing battle, and Daniel's able to hold on right now to the lead.
How about 5 to go and only your 2nd ARCA race, and you're leading, closing in on your victory? What is he thinking right now?
He got 50 laps in his super late model this week, Wednesday. He said that was really cool, but it felt a lot different to me. But that confidence, that young driver, surrounded by all those people we talked about, Chevy and Driver's Edge Development, getting Chad Bryant to sit down with this young driver and say, he's an aggressive guy. We got to calm him down in the race cars sometimes. But his ability to pick out racing lines here shows me a ton. Not just because he's racing against a really good competition, but at a track totally foreign to him until this week. And he's risen to the occasion, beating Ty Gibbs. Nobody's done that in the last couple of years. Sands and Sam Mayer and a few others when it comes to head-to-head competition here.
Ty Gibbs has closed down the gap between 1st and 2nd, but he's running out of time. 1 second now the disparity between first and second. Is Daniel Dye just chilling out? There's Ty Gibbs. We'll be coming to the 1 to go this time.
Can't go in the dirt now, Daniel. Stay true. 1 to go. Here comes Ty Gibbs on a huge run.
Ty Gibbs closing in. Will he run out of time here? He's got one more shot down in turns 3 and 4, but unless he uses the front bumper, he's not going to be able to do it. And only his second start in the ARCA Menards Series, 17-year-old Daniel Dye wins at Berlin. That's impressive. Ty Gibbs knows what it's like to win here in ARCA, and Daniel Dye is going to be able to experience that in victory lane tonight.
Ty gave him a run at the finish. Ty gave him a run for the lead on a restart. Daniel Dye answered each and every challenge. We're going to hear from him in victory lane tonight. First-time winner at ARCA Menards Series at Berlin Raceway, would you say, for the 3rd straight year?
3rd straight year.
Awesome.
Incredible. We'll hear from Daniel Dye as he celebrates here at Berlin Raceway. Daniel Dye becomes the 3rd winner of the season in the ARCA Menards Series. And you can see tears of joy in the cockpit of that car before he climbs out victorious here at Berlin. Chad Bryant, his crew chief, chatting with him. What a difference a week makes. After he made his first start last week, a top 10 run, he's going to celebrate and climb out victorious in front of a packed crowd tonight in Marne, Michigan. Dave Reef, he's in a state of disbelief.
And you cannot keep a first-time winner from showing that pure Michigan emotion. How special a moment is this?
I don't know, man. I'm freaking out. We led every lap. Ty got into me there. I thought it was over. Hanover, dude, I don't know. I don't have words right now. This is crazy. Beating Ty Gibbs and Corey Heim, and we led every lap. I'm worn out. It's unreal. It's so cool.
The question was asked in the MAV TV booth. I guarantee everybody watching this race was asking and wondering the same thing. What is going on? How are you processing this race as the laps wind down and the pressure goes up?
Chad just told me to think of it as a quarter midget race, and I want a lot of those things. So he calmed me down. He kept me focused. I just kept doing the same thing every lap, and I don't feel real quite yet. This is a dream come true.
Just your second race too. I mean, I don't even know how you begin to quantify.
I got the same understanding that you do. I don't know either, man. This is awesome. I'm so happy.
What's the first phone call you're going to make when you get that cell phone back in your hand?
I'm sure my Nana right now is blowing up my phone. I don't know. I probably won't get a chance to call somebody. She's probably still calling me right now. But my sister's watching at home. She's probably crying. My Nana's probably crying. It's just,
big time down in the Sunshine State, and I know there's a bunch of guys right here that want to get in ground on you and congratulate you. Daniel Dye, congratulations, my friend. You got the win.
Tomorrow morning, he's going to wake up in the hotel and have to pinch himself and think back, did I just win my first ARCA Menards Series event? He gets it done here. 3rd winner of the year. Ty Gibbs and Corey Heim, who have won the other 9 races, finished 2nd and 3rd. Taylor Gray, his 2nd straight top 5 run.
Neither Ty Gibbs or Corey Heim led a lap, led the most laps, or scored the point for the general tire pole. So they're going to go into the next race. Just 1 point difference. Ty Gibbs gets just 1 point after the hard charge at the very end to run to 2nd over Corey Heim, heading into Iowa.
And how about this? Owen Smith records his first top 10 finish in ARCA.
Great job by that Virginia short tracker. Good to see him back there in 9th. And Morgan Alexander, welcome to the ARCA Menards Series. Nice run for Nice Motorsports. A truck team bringing drivers and opportunities here to the ARCA Menards Series. I think it's a great marriage to bring drivers to ARCA to get them prepared for racing in other divisions.
You like numerology? I do. Nick Sanchez, 8th straight top 10 finish. And how about his 3rd straight 6th place run? I'm sure he's not going to be happy with that. Also maybe not happy here tonight, who knows, standing by with Dave Reef is Ty Gibbs.
I guarantee it wasn't for a lack of trying. We know that Ty Gibbs put the pedal to the metal there and did everything he could, but it's not very often when you run into something like that. In fact, you've done it to a lot of people.
Yeah, it's...
You've been dominant.
Thank you. So, I feel like, overall we had a really good night. We just got beat there. Congratulations to Daniel and their team. They did a good job and they won. I just felt like we just lacked a little bit of speed. I feel like we'll go back and work on it. My guys never give up, and this is a part of the plan. So, I feel like the ingredients to winning sometimes is losing. You got to learn from it.
It hadn't been that long since you were that guy the first time, and you've done it a lot of times. You remember what that emotion was like?
Yeah, it's awesome getting your first win, and you have a bunch of heartbreaks before it, and you push through and get it. So, really cool for Daniel to get his win, and congratulations to him and their whole 21 group. So, we'll move on to Iowa.
And officially closed it down to a single point, heading to the backside of this season.
And he's pretty good at Iowa. In fact, I think he's been to victory lane there before, maybe last year. Ty Gibbs, 13 total wins in his young career in the ARCA Menards series. But that, the first for the Floridian, the teenager, Daniel Dye.
Getting the directions of where to stand, how to smile, and it's all starting to soak in for that young driver who really has had a chance at every level to perform. Ben Kennedy Racing, working him through the late models into the ARCA East Series platform, making that gamble to go to GMS Racing mid-season. They already started the East season and the ARCA Menard Series season and said, this is where I need to be. And for this success for this team, all built around Chad Bryant and his guys at GMS Racing, putting the effort forth with those resources. Congrats to their team and their first big win.
Hey, Dave Reeve, with the way the day started for Corey Heim and that team, I'm sure he's pretty pleased with the third-place run.
Absolutely. And, that short track Saturday night thing we thought might develop never really did. It was a pretty quiet race, a pretty consistent race. Overall, a third-place finish, another podium. You got to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I'm not super thrilled by any means. Bottom line is I just got to get better. I started practice and it took me 99% of the time to figure the racetrack out, and I feel like I finally figured it out at the very end. So my Veterinary Motorsports team made really good adjustments all day long, and cars from Camry was pretty good throughout the race. We just, I think we lost to rubber at 1.2, which kind of hurt us, but I think we're going to be really good next week, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Iowa, get your thoughts about racing there in the Hawkeye State.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Iowa. I haven't been there in a little bit, but it's one of my favorite tracks, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right, we will see you next weekend.
I redid the math, Bob. I think it's 6 points difference between Corey Heim and Ty Gibbs heading into next Saturday's race right here on MAV TV.
Another podium run for Corey Heim. He came into this race with an average finish this year of 2.2. That shows you why he is the point leader. But remember that one blemish for Ty Gibbs really has been on the big track of Talladega when he was a victim of some other extracurricular activity by some other drivers.
And they're both really good on the short tracks. When we see this run through the short tracks, we know Ty Gibbs is excellent on road courses. I'm wondering what it's going to be like as they project and think, okay, where are my strengths? Where's that other team? They are now looking square each other in the eye saying, perhaps in closed-door meetings, what do we need to do at this racetrack? Where do we give up points? Where do we need to maximize our points for the remainder of the second half of the season?
Taylor Gray finishes in fourth. Dave Reef, how's he feeling?
Well, I think he's feeling, maybe with a few questions, but 450 laps of racing here in 7 days. How's the body feeling after all the things that you've been through?
I feel good. I don't really, everyone kind of thinks I'm going to be sore or tired or whatever. And
you're going to get old one day and you will be.
It's true. But, I feel good. I feel better than I thought I would coming out here and running these weekend to weekend. So, we struggled a little bit in that late race portion, but just kind of got to go back to Iowa, work on our stuff a little bit more, and bring it back and see what we can do.
How much of that is Berlin and just trying to adapt to this truly unique place?
This place is definitely unique. Yeah, that's an understatement. But me and Berlin did not get it well very long. I guess that's the better way to put it.
All righty. Well, good job coming home in the fourth place.
I love watching and listening to these drivers explain this racetrack because it can puzzle the best.
I don't think he's on the list of people who like this place. He's very kind and cordial with what he just said there. This track, it's a love or hate deal. After the end of the race, and you go, wow, what just happened? He finished fourth. That's a big win for a driver that I can tell you doesn't really like the uniqueness of this racetrack right now.
Hey, Dave Reef, there was a lot of love going on here tonight in Berlin.
There was a lot of love. Jesse Love trying to make this thing interesting, and he did another solid job coming home in the 5th position. Back-to-back weekends, a lot of laps here. I know you wanted it really, really bad, probably wanted it again tonight, but again, a unique racetrack. What was the overall assessment level?
Yeah, I mean, coming off our second last week, we wanted some more this weekend, and I don't really know. I mean, I guess the only way to put it is we got beat this weekend, and I don't really know if we were really that bad in any certain point. We missed our mark, and we got to get a little bit better, and we'll come back to Iowa and be even stronger. So I got the best crew in the business working on it and getting us better. So got to thank Mobile One, Toyota, God, and everybody that helps me achieve my dreams, and gives us some more motivation heading into next week.
Spent a lot of time listening on the racing electronic scanner. It seemed like this racetrack, more than perhaps any other, there was more communication, more scratching the head, more trying to figure out how to make these cars go quick and fast. Would that assessment be accurate?
Yeah, you think you guys were scratching your head. I'm sitting there and didn't know what to expect. I mean, I thought we were going to be a little bit better tonight, but, missed a little bit in qualifying. And I thought we'd be good this weekend, but we'll come back stronger at Iowa and, keep on working on our Mobile One Toyota Camry and get these guys where they belong.
I know in the closing moments of a race, especially last week after such a dynamic finish, racing right now and still the heart's beating and the heart's racing and the head's thinking. When you get a couple of days to kind of sit back and think, are you going to remember Berlin as fun?
No.
How come?
Because we're sitting 5th. No. The short answer is no. I mean, I liked this place before I came here, and then I was like all the way over here before I got here, like, oh, this place is awesome. I came here super late, had a good run, and had a lot of fun. And now I'm back down. I don't like Berlin, but the fans are great. I still like the fans, and I do like the racetrack is a good racetrack, but it's hard for us to like a place we didn't run the best at.
I'll tell you what, I certainly enjoyed all the racing action, and I'm sure you will too when you run well at Berlin. Thanks, man.
I think Jesse will only be happy if he winds up in victory lane someday at Berlin. And there is a 3-year plan for Jesse Love. They expect to run him, Toyota, and that whole development program in more races next year and possibly in the year following to go after a championship.
It's great to see his development coming to 4. He's not happy with 5th. He's going to different racetracks. He's getting the challenge. He's getting super late model races and longer duration runs. A lot of big competition he's racing against on the super late model levels. They're exposing him to a lot right now. And for him to get all that backing and all that effort when he just turned 16 this year, the reason why it's a 3-year plan is he's got to be 18 to get to some of the bigger tracks and race for a full schedule, just like Ty Gibbs had to wait till last October when he finally turned 18 to get a chance to run full-time here in this series.
Daniel Dye's got some great hair, I'll tell you that as well. He's always been having that bushy hair, whether it's been in a late model or here at the ARCA Menards series. Only half a moon here tonight. That's why we didn't see the crazy action at Berlin. Welcome back to Berlin Raceway in Marne, Michigan. The Zinnser Smart Coat 200 has concluded round 4 of the Sioux Chief Showdown. It was a dominant performance by Daniel Dye here tonight, and he also dominates the nominations for the Reese's Sweet Move of the race. This is early on. Watch Morgan Alexander in the 50 spin, and Daniel Dye just misses him in turn 4.
That was lap 33, Bob. This look tells you how close it could have been for Daniel Dye's ninth to go sideways.
Daniel Dye also part of this one as well. Ty Gibbs going for the lead, dives to the bottom, slides high, and gets into the left rear quarter panel of the 21.
Lift that car up. Look, listen, you can hear it just rev as he hit the gas to maintain control, and Ty did a nice move, giving him chances to recover there.
And we did debate this one. The third nomination will be for Daniel Dye taking the checkered flag, but Jim Trado really wanted him crying in that car after all the joyful, triumphant celebrations.
The sweetness of a win at this level at age 17, yeah, I'd say that's worthy of a Reese's Sweet Move of the Race nomination.
You can pick the Reese's Sweet Move of the race. Go to the Twitter that ARCA Racing has and decide amongst those 3 nominations. That begins tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Wow, incredible. So for Dave Reeve, Jim Trado, and everybody at Lucas Oil Production Studios, I'm Bob Dillner saying thanks for watching and congratulations to Daniel Dye.